All right, everyone. Welcome to Clear Start Mondays. I'm John Heyman, a mental fitness life coach, and tonight, your host. Each Monday, we do three simple things. We ground your nervous system, we write through a few direct questions, and you leave with one clear move for the week. You will not be put on the spot. You don't have to turn your camera on, and you don't have to share anything out loud. This is not group therapy. This is not a hustle session, and it's not a motivational speech. This is a reset. You're here to be a human with a pen and a nervous system that could very well be tired. That's okay. Tonight's theme is the power of the pause. So before we talk about anything, before we think about anything, let your body arrive. Just breathe. Let the air around you go into your lungs and fill you up, then exhale. Feel your feet on the ground. Locate your big toe on one foot. Notice your big toe on your other foot. See if you can find your pinky toes. Go ahead and wiggle all of your toes for me. Notice where your body is touching whatever you're sitting on. Unclench your jaw. Relax your face and skull. Roll your shoulders and drop them. Take one long, slow breath in through your nose and notice the sensation of air as it hits your nostrils. Pause briefly at the top of your inhale. Exhale gently through your mouth, noticing the sensation of air leaving your lips. Good. Most people start their week already reacting, already solving, already bracing. If you notice that in yourself, nothing has gone wrong. This is just where we interrupt that. And there's nothing to achieve tonight, nothing to perform. You don't need to be on, just be here. So I want to invite you to a visualization. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Imagine your mind as a snow globe. Inside the glass, thoughts, worries, stress, things outside of your control, other people's moods, the what ifs in your life, they're the snowflakes inside. All week long, that snow globe has been getting stirred up without us realizing it. Every notification, every responsibility, every demand, every interruption, every interaction you've taken on emotionally, every moment that you felt rushed, behind, or overwhelmed is one of those flakes falling in that water. I want to invite you to picture setting that snow globe down gently, easily, hands off. No effort, just stillness. Watch the pieces float and fall. One by one, let them settle. Each piece drifting down, resting on the bottom. Notice the moment the last flake falls. The water becomes clearer, and it's not because you forced anything. but because we stopped shaking it up. If your globe hasn't settled yet, that's okay. You did nothing wrong. We're just noticing. Now ask yourself quietly, what am I carrying into this session that I do not need right now? Whatever comes up, just name it. You don't need to fix it. You don't need to understand it. Just admit that you're carrying it, and for this session, gently set it down beside you. So what are we doing tonight? Most people move through their week without pausing. Not because they want chaos in their life, but because momentum often feels safer than stillness. When you never give yourself a pause, your nervous system never fully resets. Everything feels urgent. Everything feels personal. Everything feels heavier than it needs to be. Tonight is about reclaiming the pause. Not as avoidance, not as procrastination, but as a skill. A pause gives your nervous system time to catch up with your life. A pause creates space between what happens and how you respond. Without that space, we're not choosing, we're repeating. That space inside the pause is where choice lives. So go ahead and grab something to write with. But before we write, I want to slow this down for you. This is not about labeling yourself as reactive, impatient, or bad at slowing down. This is about noticing specific moments where speed has become automatic. Think in snapshots, not stories. So question 1, where do I act from reaction instead of response? Think about the last week. A conversation where you answered too quickly. An email you responded to without checking in. A decision you rushed because stopping felt uncomfortable. We are not fixing anything here. We are simply noticing where momentum has been running the system. Go ahead and write those moments, and I'll throw up 3 minutes on our timer. Just remember, we're not trying to label ourselves. We're just naming what's happening in the last week. Where do I act from reaction instead of response? List 3, please. Got about a minute and a half to go. So maybe it was a conversation where you answered too quickly and said something that gave you pause after you said it. Or perhaps it was an email you read so fast that you actually misrepresented what they even said. Just over a minute to go. Fixing. Just bringing awareness to it. All right. Question 2. So go ahead and look at what you wrote. What could become possible if you pause, even briefly, in any of those situations? And I want to be clear about something. We're not talking about pausing forever, and we're not talking to slow your whole life down. But what we are talking about is just a beat, a moment, uh, a moment of awareness, a breath, one moment of space between stimulus and response. So pick one situation from what you wrote. And if you pause there, even briefly, what might change? Would your tone soften? Would your body settle? Would you be able to speak from clarity? There is no right answer here, just an honest one. And you don't have to answer, if you wrote three, you don't have to answer all three. Just write what comes up for you. I'm going to put 3 minutes back on the timer here. And just ask yourself, what becomes possible when I pause, even briefly? Pick a moment. And if you pause there, what might change? Just over a minute to go here. Would your tone soften? Maybe it's a moment that we wouldn't take personally. Maybe it's a moment that we could respond as our best self. There's no right answer, just an honest one. All right, we are on to question 3. So, I know there's 3 questions on this slide, but I want to clarify it's still one question because we're looking at it from 3 different angles. We're not adding tasks. We're choosing a place to practice right now, and that's okay, right? So write 3 short answers and keep them simple. First, what reaction do I default to that needs interrupting? This is not a self-criticism. This is pattern awareness. Something you notice yourself doing automatically, whatever that looks like for you. The second question is, where can I apply that pause that might lead to a different outcome? A conversation, a message, a decision, how I react to other people. And third, what would my life look like if I lived in response instead of reaction? We're not imagining a whole new life here. Pick something concrete, something you normally react to, and imagine what your life would look like if you lived in response. The difference between response and reaction is very simple. In reaction, your emotions have control of you. Your analytical mind has control of you. In response, you're aware of how you react and how you respond to someone else's input. So one is autopilot and the other's not. But keep these short, keep these short, keep them clear, and keep them concrete. I'm going to put 3 more minutes up here. Actually, I'm going to put 4 minutes up here because this is 3 questions. So the first one is, what reaction do I default to that needs interrupting without criticizing ourselves? The second part of this question is, where can I apply a pause that might lead to a different outcome? Maybe in a conversation. Maybe when you're driving and someone cuts you off. Maybe in a message you read that upsets you. Maybe in a decision that you have to make. The third part of this question is, what would my life look like if I lived in response instead of reaction? And think of response as self-awareness and reaction being autopilot. Pick something concrete. What would your life look like if you lived in response instead of reaction? Just about a minute to go here. All right. So I want to speak directly to what you just wrote. Most people believe that clarity comes from thinking harder. It does not. Clarity comes from slowing down the moment that you exist in enough to hear yourself, to step out of autopilot. A pause is not weakness, it is regulation. When you pause, your nervous system stands down, your brain stops scanning for a threat, and you regain access to choice. This is not about becoming calm all the time. It is about interrupting automatic momentum, turning that autopilot switch off. Clarity is not a personality trait, it is practiced interruption. And I believe that we can get there together. So we're going to turn this into something usable. Your anchor phrase is your pause. One sentence that you're going to return to when you feel yourself speeding up. It connects everything that you just wrote. Where you move too fast, what becomes possible when you pause, and where you will practice this week. It is not motivational, it is stabilizing. And some examples might be I can pause before I respond, or nothing needs my reaction right now. Or perhaps it could be pause creates clarity. Choose a phrase like that. Any of those. Choose one that feels true in your body. Write it at the top of your page. This is the small move that helps you return to alignment in those moments. Now choose one moment this week where you will practice the pause. One conversation, one decision, one response. Write when you will pause. You've got a whole list in front of you of things that you noticed about your autopilot and where you would like to live in awareness, what it would look like to live in awareness. So write down when you will pause. And this doesn't have to be perfect, and you don't have to do it every day forever. Just once, one time, on purpose. This is how change happens. Not all at once, but one interrupted pattern at a time. I'm going to put a minute on the timer here. And I just want you to write down one moment right now that you will remember to pause. You can remember to pause with your anchor phrase. An example might be, I can pause before I respond. Or nothing needs my reaction right now. Or pause creates clarity. Any of those three, or your own, and when and what you're going to do it. Great. Tonight we did something that most people never do. We slowed down long enough to notice our autopilot and where we speed up. You separated reaction from response. You identified where momentum has been running the system, hidden autopilot. You named what becomes possible when you pause, even if it's briefly, just a moment. You chose one moment where you will practice interrupting the rush, where you're used to being in reaction. And for now, that's enough. You don't need a new personality to live with more clarity. You need access to space. A pause gives your nervous system time to stand down. It gives your brain a chance to come back online, and it gives you a choice. This week, notice where you speed up. Notice when that autopilot's on and pause. Take a breath, return to your anchor phrase, and make a new choice. That's enough. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to look at something most people never take the time to notice. This is the rhythm to Clear Start Mondays. We reset, we write, and you leave with one clear move to help you with your week. If, as you keep coming to Clear Start Mondays, you notice you want to go deeper into the work, the mind's own habit system is where we systematically unwind the mental loops that keep you stuck and build new ones that actually support you. We actually talk about the pause in that program. If you want a structured framework behind your mental fitness work, I'm also a positive intelligence coach. We use a saboteur assessment to have a groundwork that covers a lot of ground quickly, plus simple daily practices to help you get out of stress patterns almost as fast as they arise. It's pretty interesting stuff. And if you want some focused one-on-one personal support, I also offer direct coaching, where we work directly with what's happening in your life right now. But for tonight, you don't have to decide anything. Just know that those doors exist if and when you are ready. Your job this week is simple. Notice the moment you're rushing. Pause. Answer with your anchor phrase. Make a new choice. Do it one time on purpose. Thanks again for being here. You are capable and powerful. I believe in you. Keep making good choices, and I'll see you next Monday.